As for my appearance, not what you expected, me either. Do you know how excited I would be if cute, young, thin, me walked out here? People will forgive almost any change, making your skin orange, shaving your head in public. Britney's had quite a year. Go, Britney! I could have gotten a face tattoo as long as it wasn't, say, a swastika. By the way, when I was writing this show, I couldn't, for the life of me, spell swastika. I can't even say swastika. I write everything out longhand for the shows, and it occurred to me I'd never written the word swastika before. So then I thought, do I just draw swastika? Yeah, but that seems rude. Like, what if I lost my notebook and someone just saw doodles of swastikas in there? Which, by this point, were being spelled like swash ticker. Swash ticker. I felt like that's as close as I was going to get, and I was okay giving up trying and not looking it up. So back to the drawing of it versus my inability to spell it. But I would have done that, but I could not figure out how to draw one either, which I believe is the hallmark of a well-lived life, especially for a Jew. Now, where was I? Hi, welcome to Hearsay. I'm Diane Neal, and with me, as always, is my trusty producer, Danny. Hi, Danny.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you? So I was just reading, as per my producer's instruction, this random bit that I found in a notebook of comedy the other day. And I just thought I'd read it out loud for the first time on the air about my swash tickers. But I do like that, like swash ticker.
Swash
You don't
ticker.
like Lyme disease? Swash tickers for you.
Yeah, it sounds like a product of some kind.
It does. It sounds it's better than I can't. How do you say swastika? I can't even with maybe. It's
I think it's swastika.
I'm
swastika.
Swastika. I'm like okay, not really knowing how to pronounce it or draw it or spell it. I'm just gonna again.
It's an obsolete skill outside of the
for some, except for some people.
By the way,
time
period, a very small time period, and very
But we were talking about a little bit about this last week, you and I. This insanity. By the way, we're now on the detour. Double D detour. Where are we going? I smell burning rubber.
Well, son, you shouldn't stick it in so fast then.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know what that means.
I don't
know what that means.
I have no idea either.
I don't know, but we're on the double detour now. Danny and Diane rocking it. We were talking about white supremacists, like the horrifying. And I was thinking about them today. I was thinking about how horrible, genuinely horrible, how horrific it would be to be, and there's so many targets, right? You've got like El Paso, which was like the Latin American community, but there tend to be more acts against, I don't know if it's against blacks and people specifically targeting blacks, and how scary it would be if you were black every day, just to wonder, no matter where you are, if somebody could get you. Like that's the thing. So I've been swimming in the ocean every day, and I think about it I thought about it in the context of shark attacks, right? Like that's the thing. Like I understand how statistically remote the possibility is. Doesn't mean I'm not terrified every time I go into the water. I still do it because I have to, and I want to, and I love it. However, like you think about it, and if this was this kind of actual legitimate terror, not my, faux shark attack terror, the terror of not being able to go to the grocery store, of not being able to be pulled over by anyone, of not being able to rely on law enforcement, of not being able to go to church or Bible study without fear of being shot. And I kept thinking about this too, and I think we are the problem. And by we, I mean, obviously, but it's not just the people that are pulling the trigger. It's all people of the oppressive race that unless we're actively doing something to stop it, we're part of the problem. I think you're
Yep.
totally part of the problem.
It's not enough to not be racist. You have to be anti-racist, right?
Yeah, you have to make an effort, and
You have to
and
actually
sometimes
like,
like you don't know what that effort is, but you got to figure it out because it's obscene, and all these, and it's always the same. It's these like white incel angry. Like, what do you have to be so like? How are you? You don't even have enough life behind you to be so angry. And so like this is the thing, like, so it's all born out of rage, like these rage. And someone once asked me, like, when you're acting, because like I play a lot of people with a lot of rage, where does rage come from? Rage comes from one place: profound loss, either perceived or real. And in the case of these idiot people, it's all perceived. None of these people are taking their jobs. None of these people are replacing them. None of these people are making their life any worse for being alive. And yet they have this perceived fear. And that comes from all the BS that's been going on for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years.
mm-hmm.
And unless we actually do something to stop it, it's just going to keep going on forever. And it just keeps getting worse. And they keep referencing each other. You know, it's like they're stacking one of these manifesto on top of another manifesto on top of another manifesto. They're all building upon each other's work, which is just insanity.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you hear about how there was a 911 dispatcher that allegedly hung up on a tops
I
worker?
saw that. Does that really happen, you think?
I mean, according to New York Post,
So
they
probably not
say,
then. The
yeah, I mean,
least
it is
reputable
the worst of the
newspaper.
Murdochs,
It is the worst, which is saying something.
which is saying something.
Yeah.
But they say a 911 dispatcher accused of hanging up on a Buffalo supermarket employee calling about the mass shooter has been suspended. Letitia,
Ooh.
an assistant manager at Tops Friendly Market, said she called 911 to report the gunshots allegedly fired by self professed white supremacists in the crowded supermarket on Saturday. I tried to call 911 and I was whispering because I could hear him close by, Letitia said. And when I whispered on the phone to 911, the dispatcher started yelling at me, saying, "Why are you whispering? You don't have to whisper." So, yeah,
That's horrifying.
it's
Yeah, you do
horrifying.
have to whisper when there's a gunman hunting you
Mm-hmm.
down.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of those clips? I saw one tiny little bit where he raises the gun to shoot at a white guy, lowers his gun, says sorry, and then moves on.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Hate crime? Anyone?
Yeah, and apparently, according to CNN, uh, he posted about the attack plans before going,
But
and they were available online 30 minutes before the
30
shooting.
minutes, but what they were probably on what 4chan or like 8chan or one of these like
Yeah,
these crazy things
you can
where
never.
everyone else is another like white supremacist freak ball. And so like if they saw it, no one was going to be like, yeah, I'm going to report this to the authorities.
Right,
Like you're talking about a place where they like allow like murders of babies to be shown, like live on this horrible places. But the problem is these
right.
places exist on the web, and idiots find them. People that are really susceptible. And I'm not blaming this. I'm blaming this kid for doing this. This jackass. Speaking of which, I actually shouldn't call him a kid. You know that was the other thing that bothered me. So I saw that video and I was blown away. But in the press, where they're like, white teenager, but a black man. I think we talked about that are same age. They're
Right.
both 18, and
Yeah.
it's like, you know
Yeah.
what?
It's one of those
Wow,
biases.
it's
Yeah.
messed up.
It's
I don't
insane.
know.
It's awful.
It's awful. It's heinous.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much like, and like what drives me nuts too is like when you like tweet anything about it, you try and say anything like just talking about it, right? Like at least engage in a discussion, which I know Twitter isn't the best for. It's mostly people making like irrational pronouncements trying to like provoke a response, right? That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
But like if you try and say anything or engage or start a dialogue, people are like, what about all the gun violence in the cities? And they're like, yeah, you were not, that's horrible too, but we're not talking about that right now.
Can we like just have a moment?
Yeah. Can we have a
You
moment
know,
for these people?
like just respectfully.
Right,
have a
that lost their
moment.
lives and that
Yeah.
are going to be the people that lived have PTSD the rest of their life. The
Right.
entire community that's like messed up.
Yeah.
An entire segment of our neighbors and fellow citizens that are afraid for their lives every day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just take a moment for them. Just how about that?
Right.
All gun violence is like that's the thing too. Like I know what they're implying. They're implying like, yeah, inner city crime is just as bad, and it's just like,
Well, the
no.
the underlying message that they're trying to say there is, it's like it's a racist dog whistle of,
Yep.
hey, black people kill too.
Right.
So just because we had a racially motivated crime doesn't mean that it's a problem. It's like, no, it's racially motivated terrorism
It's a
is a
real
problem.
problem. It's a
Yeah.
real problem.
I mean, any homegrown terrorism is a problem, even if it doesn't, even if it's not necessarily to the scale that it will,
Right.
like a lot of people talk about, oh, well, like the amount of people that die of heart disease and the amount of the thing is with
No,
terrorism, the point isn't
it's
to kill
unnecessary.
a ton of people, it's to terrorize
Right.
people.
And it's
And it
not that
only
it's
takes
not
one or
their
two
it's not
events
your
to
choice. If you're eating like Mickey D's every day, it's your choice to get heart disease. It's kind of your choice. You know what? You might die from heart disease. Your choice. If you're just grocery shopping and someone guns you down because of the color of your skin, not your choice.
right.
Not
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Who is
Yeah.
like this is what blows me away about these like shooters. How entitled do you have to be? Like what kind of an entitled prick do you have to be that you think you're entitled to take the lives of other people?
Right. Yeah.
That's like Karen on steroids. Like that's just
Yeah.
wrecks my head. Really does, man. It wrecks my head. Can we
Yeah.
talk
It's
about
awful.
other things? What else you got for me? Lighten it up a bit because it makes me angry. You have any more thoughts? You have better thoughts than I do.
Honestly, all I can say is it's a tragedy. My heart goes out to people that have been directly affected by this, and honestly, like I think it's just another example of what happens when you have inflamed racial rhetoric that has become mainstream,
Mainstream.
Yeah. So we've been seeing more and more things like this happening over the last few years, and it's really depressing that I
Yeah.
feel like, in the United States we've kind of like gone back a few steps. Um but all we can do right now is just hold out hope, and there's an election this coming fall, and I hope that I hope
That's
that
like, have you seen the polling? That's
I
looking
know.
rough.
Yeah.
Good gravy.
Yeah. Well, the map's not really looking good. But yeah, so to move on, hopefully to something a little bit lighter. I thought this was kind of an interesting story.
Think of
Um
my
and
local.
and so I'm going to give a little bit of backstory before I get to the actual article. But
Mm-hmm.
as some people may know, the Philippines once upon a time had a dictator, a couple decades ago, and said
A
dictator,
different dictator than the one they have now.
a different dictator than the one they just
This one,
had
the one they have
and the
now is
one
like an
they just
authoritarian
elected.
president. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking of the one that's departing,
Duterte.
but.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so said dictator, President Marcos, as he was called, basically, um, he coalesced so much power that he was able to suspend the legislative branch, and he packed the courts to the point where the courts had no power over him, and then he implemented martial law.
Sounds so familiar. What this is like. What are you
Right.
describing the last administration? What's happening,
It's
sir?
very interesting when you look at how dictators go into power, and then you compare that to the
Ha-
political moves
have you
of our
read
last
written?
president.
Have you read the book on tyranny? It's very short and it's very worthwhile.
I haven't, but
I'm
I
gonna
will
send you a
link to
copy
that
of
in
On
the
Tyranny.
notes of the show.
Yeah.
And then yeah. But so
So
interestingly,
Marcos.
yeah, so interestingly, in the course of
Did you just puke
Excuse
in your
me.
mouth? You're right.
I just burped.
My gosh.
Interestingly,
Mm.
in the course of in the course of attaining so much power, and by the way, killing many Filipinos, uh, President Marcos also apparently had some economic policies that helped the
That's a very
country
kind way to
do
put it.
do a little bit better. And because he was right wing, he was also helped considerably by the Reagan administration,
Of
apparently.
course.
And so, in modern day schooling in the Philippines, apparently the way that they talk about the martial law and the dictatorship of President Marcos is they
Hmm.
will say, yes, he's a very bad person, but like he did a lot of economic good for us as well. So in the last
All
election,
right.
which was about what, like a week or two ago,
Well, I was just going to say that you know who he did the most economic good for? Himself and his
himself
lady
especially.
wife.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh no,
Yeah.
he's like
So
Scrooge
during his
McDuck.
reign,
And like he's diving into like the gold-filled swimming pool, except that's
yeah.
just the people's money. Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. So his wife,
The DuckTales. Woo.
Imelda Marcos, was known to have one of the largest collections of designer
Of
shoes of any person
shoes.
in the world. She had
Epic shoe
rooms and
collection.
rooms of massive designer shoes and was also known, and still is known, to be a collector of Picasso paintings. We'll get to that in a minute.
Hmm.
Um, Fast forward, there was an election. President Marcos's son, Bongbong Marcos, was recently elected to be president of the Philippines. And after that happened, one of the things that
What can I say? This
happened,
his dad is long dead, and that's a whole drama because he was buried in this beautiful Valley of the Temple in Hawaii, but he wasn't his body like it's. Then they had to repatriate, and his body wasn't really there, and it was a whole thing. And Imelda, the shoe collector, was going berserker about it. Anyway, so
oh
Imelda's
wow,
still alive.
Imelda is
President, the
alive.
original Marcos, is Scrooge McDuck is gone.
Yes, and during an interview about Bongbong Marcos's win of the presidency, a reporter noticed that
It
Imelda
was
Marcos
amazing.
happens to have a long lost Picasso painting hanging on her wall,
Yeah.
which is just
A long lost Picasso painting they were suspected of stealing decades ago, and that like everyone was like on the hunt for this thing, and it's literally she's just sitting in front of it on the couch. It's literally like on the couch. It's like right behind the couch, like at touching level, right? Like it was
right, right.
like a toddler that was standing, with their back, like like standing up on the back of the couch, would put their grimy fingers all over this Picasso. Like it was there's gonna be pancit all over that Picasso, baby.
Yeah. So this is from The Guardian. It says Lost Picasso spotted in Imelda Marcos's home after son's election win. Artwork's appearance fuels fears family will use return to power to further stifle efforts to recover ill-gotten wealth. The glimpse of a possible Picasso in the home of Imelda Marcos, seen during a visit by her son, Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr., after his election.
It's like if it
Was
weren't like it also
yeah.
seems like you kind of belying your right wing tendencies and your authoritarian tendencies if you have a cute name like Bong Bong.
Right.
Like
Totally.
your name should be something like a Bond villain would have, like
Right.
Sebastian Marcos, something like that.
Yeah. Ferdinand Marcos II.
Very even more apropos.
Mm-hmm.
Imeldo Marcos.
Oh.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Like full
Yeah.
on. But
So
no, Bong Bong.
so that was supposed to be my lighthearted story. Son of
About the missing Picasso?
mom of son of new dictator stolen
It's
Picasso
lighthearted
painting.
because they're just like, let's put the stolen painting front and center. How about right like
You know what is amazing about this is honestly it just says how out of touch they are with the fact that they they have come across all this wealth so wrongfully.
how out of touch they were that like people were starving countrywide and she's got like a gazillion rooms of shoes.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
shoes are more important. I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm gonna go back to eating my can of beans. This is what I had for lunch today.
I'm super into it.
Danny,
I'm a big
I don't
fan of
like
beans.
dieting. What?
I'm a big fan of beans.
These are really good. They're
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, and those are those chickpeas?
They're fava beans.
Oh, fava beans.
Yeah.
I appreciate
And they're peeled.
I appreciate the Arabic text on there
Yeah.
because it
And
makes it
so,
feel
these
more
are the best
authentic.
beans in the world. In a lot of the Mediterranean, actually, in like a lot of the Arab world as well, they have like breakfast beans called foul. Honestly, I could spend the rest of my life eating them. They're so
Mm,
delicious.
hmm.
They're so good. You can't even heat them up, just like straight out of the can and into your
I
mouth.
am totally not judging you for that because I'm such a bean person. Like I can live off of beans, and I know I'm
What's your
Mexican
favorite kind of bean? No, what's
American.
your favorite kind of bean?
My favorite kind of bean, probably the good old pinto, but I do
I love a
love
pinto.
chickpeas as well.
I do. I love a refried pinto is like something that I could dig into every day for the rest of my
Oh
life too.
yeah,
Like,
I love pinto beans, just like not even mashed, like just a bowl of pinto beans.
mm,
Add some seasoning in there.
oh yeah.
So good. I don't know if you would consider a lentil a bean, but I also love me some lentils.
Lentils are great, man.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, should I move on to the next story?
You
Shall
know,
we
I was
hear
gonna
one
do
more?
something. I found this. I was like laughing. I've been buying all these Mrs. Roper type caftan things that
I
I've been
love
running around.
them.
Thank you. So I got this one that's behind me. I'm really enjoying. Do you want to know what size it is?
Yes.
Free size.
Free size.
Yeah, my favorite
That's
size now. Like I've
amazing.
never seen free size before, but it's like on the label, it's like free size. And then it came, so it was like $20 on Amazon, but it came with the most elaborate instructions. Hand wash separately in cold water. Avoid strong detergent. Avoid moderate detergent. Do not wring. Do not twist. Dry in the shade. Dry inside out. Iron.
Wow.
And I
Okay.
was like, for a $20 garment, that is a lot of work.
what what kind of fabric is it?
I think it is. Let's just check it out. Let's check it out, Danny.
It looks incredibly comfortable. Love that.
Free size. Yeah, it
I
doesn't say what
love that.
material it is. I'm going to, as someone that has spent a lot of time around fabric and sews routinely, I'm going to call it a polyester, like a light polyester, which should be
Oh,
sturdier
nice.
than the instructions imply. I just thought I'd share that with everyone today because I thought that was hilarious. Between that and my can of beans, life is going well.
We need more free size garments.
I just want everything to be free size at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, I was like, who even came up with that? What size should we make it? Just free. Just free.
It's kind of like the size before sizes existed. You just had free size,
Oh my gosh, that's true.
There was no size 1,
It's
size
just
2,
like
size
wrap
3.
it
They make
around and
one.
see if it
It
fits.
fits anyone.
It fits anyone.
Yeah.
This toga, free size.
Not only does it fit anyone, but it is damn comfortable no
It
matter
is
who you
damn
are.
comfortable. This lion skin, it's free size, like way
Mhm.
back, like going way back.
You want it to fit tight? Gain a couple pounds.
Gain a couple pounds, cinch it up. Cinch it up.
Cinch it up.
Weave yourself a belt, cinch it up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Love it.
If I could live in any, like, there's so many eras that I'd want to live in. You're like, I wasn't asking. I'm thinking about it. I know you weren't asking, Danny, but I'm thinking about it. If I could live it, and I wouldn't mind being like in the South Pacific, like before the white man showed up, before Captain Cook rolled in and kind of messed everything up for everyone. It just sounds
The
like,
South Pacific.
yeah,
Like, where specifically?
like
Where
Tahiti,
pacifically?
Samoa, Fiji,
Ooh, yeah.
somewhere like that.
Yes, yes. All those sound very nice.
I could be like a very pale Gauguin type girl.
I just
But
clocked my roommate the other day for saying pacifically instead of specifically.
that's
And this was
hilarious.
the one instance where he could have said pacifically and it would have been
It
perfectly
would have been
acceptable.
right.
Where are you thinking pacifically?
Specifically.
Yeah, what time era? What era?
Just before Captain Cook. So before like
Is this
late,
a history test?
no, late
Okay.
17th century, early 18th century.
Okay, okay. Yeah, because I have no idea when Captain Cook existed. In fact, I had no idea Captain Cook was even real.
He's totally real. Not Captain Hook, Captain Cook.
Oh, Captain Cook.
Yes, not Captain Hook
Okay,
of
so
Peter
Captain
Pan
Cook
fame.
and Captain Hook are two
Right.
different people.
Captain Cook was apparently the first European
Oh wow.
to discover most of the South Pacific. So they're like the Cook Islands are named after him.
Okay. Okay.
There's a lot of found like New Zealand,
Yeah.
which was called Rapa Nui
This
before
is
he
what I
got
love
there.
about talking to you.
Because of random
I
bits
always
of
I
information.
always learn something.
Dude, and and there was like a bunch of Europeans bringing stuff that shouldn't have been there, like pigs. So like a lot of the islands now, like feral pigs everywhere, just
Interesting.
tear anything up.
Yeah.
By the way, I've been planting a ton while I've been here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I planted a giant taro root plant the other day and all that stuff. There are wild feral pigs
Wow.
that come around at night and they root around looking for roots. Taro's a tuber.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, so my mom, who's by the way the world's worst gardener, doesn't know a thing about plants. It is knows all kinds of stuff about all kinds of stuff. Not a gardener. And I caught her. I was like, "Mom, what are you doing?" And she was pouring cayenne pepper on all the new plants that I just planted.
Oh no.
Yeah. And I was
Why?
like,
To keep the
to
pigs
keep
away?
away the pigs away. And these are big pigs, man.
Wow.
Yeah, they rooted like a giant hole. It's just random, but it made me think of like Hawaii, and it made me think like, could I catch one? And then
That is so
like,
interesting.
could I eat
Yeah.
it?
What
It's
animal does Florida not have? Because wait, does Florida have alligators or crocodiles?
crocodiles are basically African in origin and
Oh,
Australian. So you get like the
so
Great Nile crocodile. So everything in the
mhm.
in North America or South America or Central America is an alligator.
Okay, so Florida has alligators.
Yeah.
They also have I
They have
believe I
one that
remember.
suns himself. Like there's literally one that suns himself on the neighbor's front porch that's
Are
like
you
five
serious?
feet long
But
every
alligators are
day.
generally not aggressive, right? Like
I don't care. Like I don't like, and 5 feet is like bigger than I'm comfortable with, Like I
yeah.
don't like I'm
Oh yeah.
walking a
Oh
tiny
yeah.
Charlie or something or no. And it's just out there all the time. And like here's the part that I think is bizarre. Nobody's named it. So it shows up like every day at the same time, same place for years now, and no one in the neighborhood has named the alligator, which is just bizarre.
I mean, I guess why would you name it if you could just say every day, "See you later,
Well, you just name
alligator"?
it. I named the taro root plant. Like this
What did you
plant
name your
is
taro root?
well, it's enormous, right? Like it's so big, like it feels like there's another person around. It's like one of those plants that has like 3 foot leaves in diameter that you can use as an umbrella if you're in the rainforest. So it's like
Oh,
it's
I
like this
love that.
Jurassic plant, and I'm like, how could you have him around and not give it a name? So I named him Carl.
Oh, I love the name Carl.
Yeah.
Also, I love that you name plants too. My old roommate was a very, very avid planter, and
Ooh.
she had so many beautiful plants in the house before she moved out. And one of them was a fig tree that I named
Ooh.
Pascal.
Ooh, Pascal's a great name for a fig tree.
Isn't it? And then
Yeah.
Edgar named two other plants Diamond and Mercedes,
That's
which were
awesome.
not as great names, but I think they were very comical at least.
They're really funny. Yeah, they
Yeah.
are really funny. Did
Yeah.
you get figs off that fig tree?
No, I don't think
Oh,
it
the
ever grew
fig.
big
I love the
enough.
fig,
It was a I don't know if it's the kind of fig tree that actually makes figs.
man. It might have been too small to make figs.
Yeah, I don't know how big they got to be to make figs.
You gotta be big to make a fig. Make a fig. I don't know. I actually don't know. I just made that up because it rhymed.
You are living the
It's
Florida life.
It is. Yeah, really. Like,
I'm loving those surfboards
oh
too.
yeah, oh yeah. I was like, I don't want them to get. They're not all my boards, but they're some of them. That guy's funny. You can see how
Yeah.
long it's been since I rode that guy. This guy is one of my favorites. This guy right
I
here.
gotta take some video of you surfing.
This is like, it's gonna be a minute before I can get back up and get back into shape, but that's okay. Like tomorrow, like this morning, I swam not too long, but like half a mile in the ocean.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Dang. That's
it's
good. That's more than I walk.
it's 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 a fair amount. It's good. It's fun. Like I like it. I
Yeah.
like this guy. This is like my first real surfboard I ever bought. It's a Challenger, which is kind of fun.
I noticed
Seven
that there's
six.
a big differential in the sizes of the
Yes.
various
So the
surfboards.
smaller, so like surfboards are measured by literage. So
Okay.
like how many liters, like the volume of the board. So
Okay.
the worse you are at it or the heavier you are, the more volume you want. So I actually have a board bigger than all of these guys. This guy's 8'6", the big one. So I had one that was even bigger in literage. It had like 93 liters. It was called the Gnarlaroo from
Oh wow.
Australia. Yeah, the Gnarlaroo. It had a handle in the middle of it because it was so big you couldn't get your arm around it to get it to the beach. But like that thing was like it would float and you could catch any wave in the world. So like the smaller the board is, the harder it gets and the better you have to be,
Okay.
basically.
Yeah.
This one is a really fun. This is actually a surfboard. It's a really fun 52-inch, what they call a fun board.
Oh wow.
And I popped the fins off during a hurricane in Rockaway like a year and a
Oh my
half ago.
gosh.
It was so much fun, and I took it
What?
out as a bodyboard in these huge waves when like Dorian was there, and it was the most fun. Like honestly, you
Wow.
know when you're having so much fun, you can't stop smiling, but then like water keeps coming in, but you're like, I can't stop smiling. I'm having so much fun, and I kept eating it, man, like over and over again. And I'll
Wow.
never forget. I was walking to the beach, and it was like all the city, all the you're not allowed to be in the ocean, especially like in the winter. I was in like
Hmm.
this huge wetsuit in the winter and when there's a hurricane, right? Like they close the city
Yeah.
down. You're not supposed
Yeah.
to.
Uh-huh.
But everyone was
I
like on the
imagine.
beach watching these like monster waves, and it was funny. And I was walking into the ocean, and this lady was like, "It's illegal to go in there." And so I just turned around. I'm like, "It's also illegal to kill hobos. Hasn't stopped me." And I just kept walking. And I wanted to turn around and see her face so badly. And I didn't. I didn't because I needed to like maintain the joke and just keep walking.
I love
I
it.
wondered, like, she's probably still told. She's like, this person was so awful. Not only were they going into the ocean when it was banned.
I ran into a murderer.
Do you know what I always think on the subways? Like when you're on one of those big escalators and you're going down or up, and other people are going the other way, and I'm like, I bet some of these people are murderers. That's what I always think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, some of
I'm
these
sure some.
people interacting with you
If
have
you're
killed
willing
people.
to cross that social norm, what are you not willing to do?
I don't know, right? It's like this is an article we should talk about next week. Harvard grad, drug smuggler, fugitive, the mysterious life of a motorsports champion. Not what I
Okay.
expected for it to finish either.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Hmm.
like not the life of a person in jail, you know?
Someone needs to tell that person to choose a lane and stick to it.
Yeah, and try to not one that's not full of illicit activities, okay?
Right. Or at least choose to be an outlaw or a good person. Don't do this morally ambiguous. I'm going to be both.
I'm gonna do world of motocross. I'm gonna succeed
It's
and
just not
smuggle
fair to the
cocaine.
rest of us. We need to be able to figure out who you are in less time than it takes to read a single headline.
Danny, should we start some sort of illicit activity, some illegal trade, perhaps?
Well, I wasn't going to tell you, but
You're already into something?
if you want
Were you
in,
leaving me out, man? Were you leaving me out?
I've been smuggling maple syrup from Canada
My gosh, it's such a problem. People
and
think we're
agave
joking.
nectar from
It's
Mexico.
actually a problem. It's actually a really big problem.
Is smuggling agave nectar from Mexico also a problem?
You know what? Like most things of the community, they're probably just not paying attention to it.
Okay, so
It could be a huge problem, and we don't even know.
I'm only half wrong then, assuming it's not a
Theoretically.
problem. The second one,
Yeah. I'm not
awesome.
quite sure.
Yeah.
Anything
So
else?
no, why don't we wrap it up and then? Do you want to do a little bonus show today again?
Oh, we could do a bonus show. What would you like
We'll
to
try
talk
and do
about?
like a short one.
Bonus show.
So we'll
That's
do
why
that
you're
as
in
well.
charge. That sounds awesome, Danny. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for listening. We'll catch you soon. And by soon, I mean either the bonus episode or a week from now on Hearsay. I'm your host, Diane Neal. Bye-bye.